11th Congressional District of Ohio, and I anchor this hour. Mr. Speaker, I would now like to yield to our chairwoman, the Honorable Barbara Lee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First, let me take this moment to thank Congresswoman Fudge again for the special order tonight, for your leadership, and for bringing to the Congress really the understanding of what unemployment is, given the unemployment rates in your district, given what has taken place in Ohio in terms of the recession. Your leadership and your commitment to turn the economy around is remarkable. We can learn a lot by what you have done in Ohio, and so thank you again for this. As chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, I rise this evening to continue sounding the alarm about the urgent and vital need to create jobs in America, particularly for the chronically unemployed, who are disproportionately suffering the brunt of this economic crisis, and who, as a result, are in desperate need of targeted, concrete, and meaningful relief. Last week, members of the Congressional Black Caucus met with President Obama at the White House to discuss our job creation agenda. It was a candid, constructive, and substantive conversation which the CBC had with the President. We reviewed our priorities to create jobs, especially for the chronically unemployed. And we understand very well that President Obama inherited an economy on the brink of collapse, and all that he and his administration have done in working with Congress to hold it together. It has certainly been remarkable, and we commend the administration for their efforts. The recovery, however, from this economic crisis has been uneven at best, and there is a long way to go to put people back to work. The impacts of unemployment, foreclosures, and the housing crisis are particularly extreme among African Americans and Latinos. People are desperate, as Congresswoman Fudge knows, in Ohio. As we try to create jobs, states are laying off people in order to balance their budgets. California has cut $20 billion out of our budget. Virginia will pass a state budget with $4 billion in cuts. If you extrapolate this nationally, we are talking about $200 billion state budget cuts nationwide after about $350 billion last year. So we need the $200 billion this year just to break even. And our Congressional Black Caucus member, Congressman Babrara, who's on the Budget Committee, continues to remind us of these very glaring numbers and how we need a major jobs initiative just to break even. That's why the CBC has been and remains laser focused on helping people who are chronically unemployed and on direct job creation. On Wednesday morning, the CBC will host a hearing focused on job creation. The event is called Out of Work, but Not Out of Hope, addressing the crisis of the chronically unemployed. This will be held on March 17th from 9 to 11 in room 2237 of the Rayburn House office building on Capitol Hill. The hearing will focus on data that suggests the chronically unemployed include African Americans and other communities of color, with unemployment rates significantly higher than the national average. Youth and adult workers also are in need of enhanced education and training, and those who have lost their jobs as a result of the weakened economy and who have been unemployed for at least 6 months. Wednesday's hearing is part of a 5-week campaign launched by the Congressional Black Caucus at the beginning of this month to seek policy solutions for the chronically unemployed. Our aim is to engage our leadership and our coalition partners in a strategy to put America back to work. We are all aware of the staggering high unemployment rates facing our communities. In February, the rate of unemployment for African Americans was 15.8%, compared with 12.4% for Latinos and 8.8% for whites. This is according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics March 5th, 2010 report. But the job problem goes deeper for many of our constituents and communities, because African Americans are not only unemployed in higher numbers, but also stay unemployed significantly longer. Of the people who have been unemployed for over 6 months, 20.3% are African American. For those unemployed for a year or more, 22.1% are African American. The median duration of unemployment was 23.8 weeks for African Americans and 18.4 weeks for our national average. These figures underscore the urgent need to target job creation efforts for those communities hardest hit by the recession. This has nothing to do with directing resources based on race. This has to do with directing resources based on need, based on unemployment statistics, and based on where the unemployed live. These stories illustrate the reality that many of our communities have been disproportionately hit by this recession. That's why we must simply prioritize and deliver, and that's what we talked with the President about. We said specifically we must focus on chronic unemployment. We must have direct and targeted job creation, which can make a real and significant impact quickly for everyone. For instance, given the unemployment rate of approximately 10%, that's 15 million people. 1 percentage point of the total number of unemployed is about 1.5 million. At $50,000 per job, $75 billion would hire 1.5 million workers and reduce the unemployment rate by 1 percentage point. For $300 billion, we should be able to hire 6 million workers and reduce the unemployment rate by 4 percentage points below what it would have been without any investment at all. But it's not just enough to create jobs. We must ensure that we include all of our communities in that effort by targeting high areas of poverty, unemployment, and the chronically unemployed. Summer jobs for young people must be part of our direct job creation efforts. We all know that many of our young people have to help pay the rent and help buy food because their parents are unemployed. We must also invest in infrastructure spending. But when we do so, we must ensure a path to apprenticeship and pre-apprentice opportunities in any transportation and infrastructure investments. Otherwise, we're going to leave communities and millions of people behind. And finally, we must ensure that contracting and procurement opportunities for minority and disadvantaged businesses are included and that existing provisions in transportation and in other areas are enforced. According to the Kiran Institute for the Study of Race and Ethnicity, which recently released its report on the impact of the Recovery Act, black businesses had only received 1.1% and Latino businesses only 1.6% of all federally contracted ARA funds. So in closing, Mr. Speaker, members of the Congressional Black Caucus are committed to continue to work with congressional leaders and President Obama to fix our economy and create jobs to address the true depth, mind you, the true depth of this recession. There's no question that by working together, we can make a real difference in the lives of all Americans. So as we work to turn the economy around and create jobs, the Congressional Black Caucus will continue to fight, mind you, to make sure that no one, mind you, no one is left behind. That is our moral responsibility as the conscience of the Congress. Thank you again, Congresswoman Fudge, and let me thank Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who has led our Jobs and Economic Recovery Task Force since actually last January and has done a marvelous job in doing that and getting